All right, we have a NCAA tournament bracket, and I have not filled it out yet. I thought I would record, first fill out, give you my predictions, go game by game, some information that I know about each team, who I think is going to cut down the nets this year in San Antonio, who I think is going to San Antonio. Um, I mean, just right off the top, before I get into my picks, that was one of the weirdest selection shows I think I've watched my whole life. There were just a lot of surprising decisions. Putting North Carolina in the field is going to get talked about ad nauseum, and I think it should. They just didn't deserve to play in the NCAA tournament, and when the chairman or the chair, whatever Bubba Cunningham's position is with the selection committee, the top guy, when he's the North Carolina AD, you're going to get a lot of questions about that. So I think it's deserved criticism there. And that's really interesting. And then just on top of that, some of the seeding is odd. I think the SEC is a little over the top. I don't think Texas should have gotten in either. Um, they're good teams, but again, at some point, you just can't put in all the SEC teams. So um, honestly, I can't say I'm too surprised. So I guess it's not one of the weirdest selection shows, but um, certainly was interesting. I'll give them that. So without further ado, let's just jump right into these games. Um, I like to pick the first four games. It is part of the tournament, I think. So right off the bat for the 16 seeds, um, I like St. Francis, PA over Alabama State, the winners of the Northeast Conference over the SWAC champions. Um, both teams were underdogs in their conference championship games and their conference tournaments. Alabama State knocked off their former head coach Mo Williams in the championship, but I need to not take too many time on these games. I'll take St. Francis, PA in that game. And then American versus Mount St. Mary's. I think Mount St. Mary's might be the worst team in the field. They had a great run in the Mid American Athletic Conference, the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, excuse me, mixed up the MAC and the MAAC. But give me American winners of the Patriot League in that one. And then for the 11 seeds, already mentioned North Carolina. I think they win this game. I think San Diego State has a lot of holes this year. I think North Carolina is motivated to prove the haters wrong. They have been playing well this part of the year. I think they win that game. And then for the other one, give me Xavier. I'm a big Sean Miller guy. I think Rodney Terry's a bit of a sitting duck there at Texas. Um, I think the Musketeers advance, making an interesting matchup with Illinois. So let's get into the field of 64 here. Right off the top, Auburn versus St. Francis, PA. Neither Alabama State or St. Francis, PA is a UMBC Fairleigh Dickinson type of 16 seed. So I'm taking Auburn. Louisville Creighton, super interesting 8-9 game here. Greg McDermott, one of my favorite coaches, college basketball. Louisville, Pat Kelsey, they're overachieved this year. Pat Kelsey, great head coach, great bright future at Louisville. They might just still be a year early. Chucky Hepburn versus Stephen Ashworth, interesting point guard battle. I think Ryan Kalkbrenner is the difference, and I don't want to tip my hand too much, but he could play a big difference in this tournament. So I got the Blue Jays advancing. Michigan, UC San Diego. My guy Seth Davis on the Selection Sunday broadcast mentioned how he thinks UC San Diego is going to win. I think this is tough draw for the Tritons. One of the best stories of college basketball this year. Their first year being eligible for the NCAA tournament. For any Minnesota sports fans watching this, it would be like St. Thomas next year, racking up 30 wins, and likely still would have gotten an at-large bid if they lost Big West title game on Saturday night. But this is a tough matchup. Dusty May, the last 3-4 years, has been one of the best tournament-setting coaches in the country. He obviously went to the Final Four with FAU, and he's fresh off a Big Ten tournament championship. So this dude knows how to win on a neutral floor, and he knows how to win at a high level, and he's a dang good basketball coach. And while UC San Diego is a great team, I think personally, I think they deserved an 11 seed. They have like the same resume as North Carolina. So Um, I'm going to go against the grain here, and I have a feeling this is going to be a public underdog, but I'll take Michigan in this game. And then Texas A&M, Yale, another going to be another really popular upset game here. I'm telling myself to chill out on the upsets. I love mid-major basketball. Anyone who knows me, so I can talk myself into a lot of these picks. And while Yale is was clearly the best team in the Ivy League all year and one of the best mid majors in the country, they're not as good as they were last year. They lost Danny Wolf, who's now at Michigan. Um, Still a tremendous mid-major program, and I think they'll give Texas A&M all they could handle. Think this game might be closer than the experts think, but I think A&M survives, wins this game. And then Ole Miss versus North Carolina, because I said North Carolina was going to win that first four game. Give me Ole Miss. Chris Beard, top 10 coach in college basketball, in my opinion. The only reason he's not at a bigger job is the off court stuff, and I think he'll get there eventually. Who knows? Maybe this is last year at Ole Miss. I think they win that game. Iowa State, Clemson. I think Iowa State might be the most overseeded team in the field. They've been struggling a little bit, a lot of injuries. TJ Altenberger, great head coach. But I think their injuries might catch up to them. I could see this game being a lot closer than experts think. Lipscomb playing really good out of the ASUN this year. And I think Iowa State survives. TJ Otzenberger, too good of a head coach to get knocked off as a three seed. But they're shaky, in my opinion. Marquette, New Mexico. Marquette, Cam Jones, one of the best players in the country. Shaka Smart, one of the more unique resumes out of any coach in college basketball. Really interesting season for them. Started out hot, limped to the finish line, made it to the Big East semis. They had the talent to be a Final Four team, but I just don't think they've really been clicking. Um, New Mexico was popular 11 over 6 last year. I think they're better this year. Richard Pitino, another guy who could be really hot name on the coaching market. I think Donovan Dent is the difference here. And I got the fighting Patinos advancing. And then Michigan State Bryant. Michigan State notably upset by a 15 seed before Middle Tennessee State. And this is Bryant's by far the best 15 seed, I think. Phil Martelli Jr., their head coach, he's going to get a bigger job soon enough. Um, they won their first America East title, regular season title, and tournament championship this year. Um, that Michigan State's a little shaky, in my opinion. Everyone loves him. Everyone loves Izzo. Nowhere near one of his best teams he's had. Great head coach, Hall of Fame head coach, and everything, but they still have a lot of holes on their team. I think Jace Richardson's been great, but I could see this game being closer. If I were a betting man, I have not seen the lines on these games either. I'm kind of going in a little dark here. I'm trying to do as little thought as possible, but I think Bryant plays closer than the experts think. But Michigan State survives. We'll go first round by first round. Let's do that. Let those sit there for a little bit. There's going to be a big upset region here, but I'm in the first round leaning another way. Let's go down to the West here. Florida, Norfolk State. Norfolk State, best 16 seed, but Florida's a wagon right now, as the kids like to say. Um, UConn, Oklahoma, huge coaching matchup in this one. Difference, my opinion. Not a big Porter Moser guy myself. He's leaning a lot on that loyal Chicago Final Four run. I think Dan Hurley outcoaches him here, advances to the next round. Memphis, Colorado State. Really interesting game here. Potential future Gophers head coach, Nico Medved, against Penny Hardaway. Former Minnesota high school star, Dane Danger, on the Memphis Tigers. Nico Medved, gonna be a popular pick here. Colorado State, one of the hottest teams in the country. Nick Clifford, potential first round pick. This is a game, haven't seen the betting line. This is going to be an under a 3-point spread. These teams are very evenly matched. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if Colorado State might be 1.5 point underdog in this game. Again, I haven't looked at any of these lines, but that game, the betting line on that game is going to surprise a lot of people, and I'm very confident in that. Colorado State will be a popular pick, but I think this is the best team that Memphis has had under Penny Hardaway. I want to say the record would indicate that. PJ Haggerty, Tyrese Hunter, if he's healthy, this will be a big thing. But they're deep. Dane Danger. Um, I think they sneak by in this one. Maryland Grand Canyon, another interesting game. Grand Canyon won last year over St. Mary's. I want to say is 12 seed. Started out really slow this year. They were supposed to be the mid-major team. They were kind of supposed to be the UC San Diego, the Drake. Started out slow. Tyon Grant Foster opted to return instead of go pro. He would have been drafted. Kind of been a bit of a disappointment this year. Still really good mid-major. But Kevin Willard in Maryland, he's got his best team since arriving in the Big Ten. I think Maryland beats a Grand Canyon team that's a year past its Cinderella story. And Bryce Drew, sneaky candidate for one of these open jobs. But I'm on Maryland here. Don't worry, I'll have some first round upsets. I just don't like them so far. Missouri Drake. This is an interesting one. Missouri's been a weird SEC team. There's been times Dennis Gates. I haven't decided if he's a good head coach or not. Last year they were horrible. Bounced back this year. Tournament team. I think they knocked off number one twice. They beat Kansas when they were number one. They beat Tennessee, I think, when they might have been number one. I could be wrong there, but Caleb Grill off the bench, Tamar Bates, really good offensive team, but Drake, exact opposite. They play slow tempo. Great offensive team, but just a difference in pace in this game. I'm going with Ben McCollum, one of the hottest names on the coaching market. Dude knows how to coach basketball. Bennett Sturts. I think he'll play his tempo in this game. Show Dennis Gates that there's levels, and I think they win. Texas Tech, UNC Wilmington, interesting game here. Seahawks from the CAA. I believe they won share of the regular season with Towson, but I like Texas Tech. I'm not going to show my hand here either, but Grant McCaslin. I keep saying I love these coaches. I love he's top five here coach for me. JT Top and Elijah Hawkins, Kerwin Walton, good squad. Give me the Red Raiders. Kansas, Arkansas. This is the puke game 101. I don't like anything about either one of these teams. Not a Hunter Dickinson guy. Bill Self, elite Hall of Fame basketball coach. John Calipari was. He's over the hill. Um, I don't even know who I want to win this game. I don't know who I think's going to win this game. Uh, I don't know if I even want to watch this game. But I'm going to go Arkansas. A lot of pressure on Cal. Kansas, too many personalities. AJ Storr, Hunter Dickinson. I'm going with Cal in the SEC. St. John's Omaha, great story. Big coaching difference in this one. Give me Pitino. All right, top right here. Duke advances. Like I said, Mount St. Mary's stinks. American, they won their regular season title in Patriot League, but no UMBC or Fairleigh Dickinson type run, in my opinion. Mississippi State versus Baylor. Both these teams are not very good. Baylor, but one team I might be underrated, one of the more disappointing teams this year. On paper, I thought they were going to be way better. VJ Edgecombe, Jeremy Roach, Norshad O'Meara, Scott Drew, one of the most accredited coaches in the country. They just weren't really able to figure it out. I'm going to go Mississippi State and Chris James. Oregon Liberty, another popular 5-12 here. I don't like this Liberty team. Richie McKay, great head coach, not one of the better teams he's had. But for my Gophers fans, big Isaiah Enan on the roster. He's out for the year, but gets to play in the dance. Good for him. There's one coach that I'm always going to trust in March to figure it out, and that's Dana Altman. So give me Dana Altman and the Ducks. Arizona Akron. There's one team I'm not going to trust in March. It's Arizona, and I don't really even care who their head coach is. Akron, one of the best mid-major teams in the country all year, out of the MAC. Give me the Zips. BYU, VCU. Two really good teams, two really good coaches. Kevin Young, Ryan Odom. Um, this could be another game where VCU might be favored, but man, interesting one here. I'm going VCU. Give me Max Shulga and the Rams from the Commonwealth. Wisconsin versus Montana. I was a little confused why Montana was a 14 seed. I think they probably should have been a 15, and maybe Bryant on the 14 line, but cutting hairs here. I like this Wisconsin team. Really fun team to watch, honestly, and that pains me to say that, but give me the Badgers. Really fun offensive team. St. Mary's Vanderbilt. Interesting game here. Mark Byington, first year in Nashville after James Madison, proven he's a good head coach. I have a feeling he might not be in Vanderbilt for too long. St. Mary's, rare two-game win in the WCC standings. They beat Gonzaga by 2 games in the regular season, which very rare. But give me Augustus Marshallonis and the Fighting Randy Bennett's from California to advance. Don't love this St. Mary's team though. Not one of my favorites. They seem to always flounder in these situations. Good team, good regular season team. Um, just not one of my faves. I guess we'll get that in the second round. But Alabama, Robert Morris. Robert Morris first Horizon League title, regular season and tournament. But Bama rolls. Give me Nate Oates. Houston versus SIUE. Southern Indiana University, Edwardsville. I don't know if it's Indiana or Illinois. Wow, that's embarrassing. Give me Houston. Cool story in the OVC, but not the same conference it was when they had Murray State and Belmont. Gonzaga, Georgia. This will be an interesting one. Gonzaga. Did I already say a team was overseeded? Gonzaga is the most underseeded team by far. The predictive metrics have them top 10 to 12, all of them. They should have been a 6 seed. They're incredibly underseeded. Horrible draw for Houston. I would be very annoyed if I were Houston. Give me the Zags. They're my favorite non-Gophers team, but I'm a little biased there. I'm trusting Mark Few in March. Dude knows how to get to the Sweet 16. Will he do it again this year? Clemson McNeese, another popular upset pick here. I think Will Wade gets the NC State job, but he's a little too focused on that. And I don't think McNeese is really that good this year. So give me Clemson. Brad Brownell, most underrated coach in the country. Purdue High Point. I don't like this Purdue team. Braden Smith, great player. Trey Coppman around, great player. I think they're a year ahead. Next year, they're going to be the Big Ten favorite if both those guys come back. Could be, honestly, preseason number one. But I like High Point. Alan Huss, great up and coming head coach. Might be a year away from getting a bigger job, but a name you got to remember. High Point runs up and down. This is going to be a high scoring game. Give me the Panthers. I think they're the Panthers, yeah. All right. Illinois versus Xavier. There seems to always be a team from the first four that wins. And I like Xavier. They've been playing good ball. Sean Miller. Don't like this Illinois team. There have been times I love this Illinois team. They just scream a team you cannot trust in March. They're the most inconsistent team in the country, outside of maybe the Gophers, but I'm not trusting them. Really talented team, but give me Xavier in that one. Kentucky, Troy. Coach Cal's not at Kentucky anymore. I don't think we're seeing an upset here. I think Mark Pope realizes that he cannot get upset in this game, or the fan base might riot. So give me the Wildcats. UCLA, Utah State. Jared Calhoun, former Youngstown State head coach, first year in Logan, Utah. Proven he's a really good head coach. Probably a year away from getting another job, but I don't think he'll be there long. Um, Started out really hot this year. I just don't love this Utah State team. I'm a Mick Cronin guy, so give me the Bruins to advance. And Tennessee Wofford. Again, Wofford probably should have been on the 16 line, but we're cutting hairs here. Give me the Volunteers and Chaz Lanier. All right. So I never win these bracket pools, but in my opinion, the round of 32 games are more important to pick. Everyone gets caught up with the 12 fives and the 13 fours, and they're like, man, I picked that upset. I'm so smart. But in reality, there's only a couple of those that happen. And then it's even more rare for those teams to advance to the Sweet 16. So if you can get 10 or 12 Sweet 16 teams right, you're going to do good. And my favorite games to pick in these are when it's the one versus the eight nines and the two versus the seven tens. And we're going to start with one right here. I think Auburn, bad matchup against Creighton. Excuse me. Like I said, Ryan Kalkbrenner shuts down John I. Broome, the battle of 23, 24-year-olds. And I think Creighton advances, knocks off the overall number one seed. Give me the Blue Jays. Michigan versus Texas A&M. Interesting game here. I'm going to lean with Dusty May, I think. Um, Setting up a really interesting Sweet 16 game if that's the case with Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden versus Creighton. But um, Texas A&M is just tough to trust with Wade Taylor, the fourth. Ah, it's an interesting one here. I think Michigan's playing good ball right now. Danny Wolf, one of my favorite players to watch the whole country. Vlad Golden, one of my least favorite players to watch. Dude flops like a freaking fish. But give me Michigan, Big Ten. Let's do it. No thought on these picks. All right, here's another one. 3C goes down here. Injuries catch up to Iowa State. Chris Beard makes a statement and takes the Rebels to the Sweet 16. Maybe he gets a bigger job here. All right, this is an interesting one here. New Mexico versus Michigan State. After my take that Michigan State will get tested in the first round, they got a tough game to go to the Sweet 16 against the highest seeded mid-major, I believe. If you don't, well, St. Mary's a mid-major, but New Mexico. Ah, this is another one. If I was betting, man, I would bet on New Mexico in this game. I just don't know if they can close it here. This would be Rich Pitino's deepest run in the tournament. Oh, this is an interesting game. We're gonna pass that one. Oh, shoot. No, we're gonna make a pick. I love to hate on Michigan State. We already said one seed's going down, but give me Sparty. I might change that, but we'll see. Florida UConn. Everyone knows UConn is just not that good this year. Florida wagon right now. Give me the Gators. Memphis versus Maryland. Interesting game here. I'm a Penny Hardaway guy. I think he gets a lot of hate. I think he's a good basketball coach. I think Maryland here might be a year early. If they can somehow get Derek Queen to come back next year, they could be pretty good. Um, Give me the Tigers. PJ Haggerty. Drake versus Texas Tech. Give me the Red Raiders. I think Ben McCollum, after he knocks off Missouri, he's getting calls from Indiana. He's getting calls from Virginia, from Villanova. They're like, Ben, we want you. He's like, man, I got a game to prepare for, and then he doesn't know how to handle it because he was just playing D2 ball 2 years ago. So um, too many distractions. Give me Grant McCaslin, JT Toppin, Arkansas St. John's. Like I said, I hate Arkansas and Kansas, so give me St. John's. I don't think either one of those teams are good. I think St. John's has a great path to the Sweet 16. How about the bracket here? Give me Duke. The injuries are interesting here, but I think they also have a really good path to Sweet 16. I think they match up well against Baylor and Mississippi State, so give me the Dukies. Morgan versus Akron. Is Akron going to go to the Sweet 16? No. I'm going to trust Dana Altman, Jackson Shelstead, um, Nate Biddle. They could make quite a run here. People don't like pick the five seeds to go far because everyone's like, "Oh, I'm going to pick them to get upset." They got an interesting path here, and I think they got a good bracket. So VCU, Wisconsin. Interesting. Give me Wisconsin. Brian Odom, another guy up for a lot of jobs. I like this Wisconsin team, which probably isn't a good thing, but I think John Tonji, Max Klesmit, Nolan Winter, Stephen Crowell, they're a tough team to guard. John Blackwell, give me Bucky. Then Alabama, St. Mary's. Like I said, I don't love this St. Mary's team. NATO's too good of a coach, too talented of a team. I think they advance. Ugh. Houston versus Gonzaga. Give me the Zags. I think this Gonzaga team's peaking at the right time. Ryan Nemhard, one of the best point guards in the country. This might be the game of the round of 32 for me. If this is how the bracket shakes out, I wouldn't be more interested in any other game. That's like a Elite Eight level game in my opinion, maybe even Final Four caliber. So really interesting, but point spread on that game it would probably surprise people. I would be like Houston minus 4.5 or something, but I like the Zags. Clemson versus High Point. Interesting one here. Very interesting. I don't have any double digit seeds in the Sweet 16 yet. Give me Clemson. Brad Brownell. He advances. Alan Huss proves that he's a great young head coach, but you got to be special to make the Sweet 16 as 13 seed. So that doesn't happen. And then Xavier, Kentucky here. I don't love this Kentucky team. Mark Pope, great head coach. I love the future of Kentucky basketball. Um, but he had a whole new roster. So probably a year early here. Give me Xavier. I, I remember when the first four started, it was like the first 7 years of first four team made the at least the Sweet 16. And the last few years, I think that slowed down a bit. But give me the Musketeers. And then you got UCLA, Tennessee. Man, don't love either one of those teams. People love to pick against Rick Barnes and March. I don't love this UCLA team. Give me Tennessee. And then after I pick those, I'm changing this to New Mexico. We're getting frisky here because we can. All right, Creighton, Michigan. Uh, Battle of the 7 footers, maybe the three best 7 footers in the country. Give me Creighton, Ryan Kalkbrenner. One last dance for the big man. Ole Miss, New Mexico. Give me Chris Beard. I like how his bracket shook up for the Rebels for Chris Beard. He made one Final Four at Texas Tech. Does he make another? I guess we'll find out. Florida versus Memphis. Interesting. And very interesting. All right. Florida, Memphis. Give me Florida. Uh, Great guards in this game. If Memphis makes the Sweet 16, Tyrese Hunter's got to be available by then. You got Tyrese Hunter, PJ Haggerty for the Tigers, and then you got Walter Clayton, Elijah Martin for the Gators. Might be like the best backcourt matchup in the country. Would be a great Sweet 16 game. But give me Todd Golden. Texas Tech, St. John's. Everyone loves Rick Pitino, myself included. It's going to be too popular of a pick this year. Everyone's going to have him going to the Final Four. I'd be like, Todd Golden, Florida. Who's that? Rick Pitino. Everyone's going to be picking him to go to the Final Four. Give me Texas Tech and JT Toppin, Elijah Hawkins, Grant McCaslin setting up a regional final against the Gators. Duke versus Oregon. Interesting game here. I think Duke, best team in the country all year. Flagg will be back by this game. Just an ankle sprain. If he gets 2 full weeks off, he'll be back. So I think Oregon's run ends here. Give me the Dukies. Wisconsin, Alabama. Give me the Badgers. I it pains me to say that. Setting up a rematch of the terrible years, but the national title game with Frank Kaminsky versus Tyus Jones. Do they get revenge against the Blue Devils? I guess we'll find out. Gonzaga versus Clemson. Interesting game here. Give me the Zags. I think Brad Brownell, if he makes Sweet 16, he'd be up for the Indiana job. Strong consideration. Do they go him, Ben McCollum, Will Wade, Chris Beard? What do they do? Give me the Zags. Mark Few, proven he's not going anywhere. He's still the class of college basketball. Xavier versus Tennessee. Man, this game blows. I hate this bottom half of the bracket. PU. I don't like any of these teams. None of them. I do like Xavier though. Zach Freemantle. I like what they did at this in the preseason. It just took them a while to get going. Do I think they're going to make the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight? No, I don't think so. I think Tennessee wins. All right, what do we got here? Give me Creighton. Interesting matchup in that one. Florida, Texas Tech. Give me Texas Tech. I love this Texas Tech team. Love them. You gotta have at least one seed. One seed. Give me the Dukies. Then give me the Zags. Got a fun Final Four here. I'm not Jay Williams. I'm not Stephen A. Smith. I'm not Dickie V. I'm not gonna tell you 4 1 seeds are making the Final Four. That's so boring. Anyone can tell you that. We have fun over here, and I'm making some upset picks. But Duke Gonzaga, man, anyone who knows me knows I hate Duke, and I really like Gonzaga. Grew up, that was just the team I liked watching. No affiliation at all. I just like watching them. Big Mark Few guy. It's fun to pick teams to root for and have no affiliation. And they're my number one on that list. And Duke might be last for me. But Duke's too good this year. I unfortunately do like Cooper Flagg a lot. Con Knipple, Tyrese Proctor, they're just too deep. And I think Gonzaga gets their heart broken again. Creighton, Texas Tech. I think the Blue Jays run ends here. Texas Tech wins, gets to their second national title game in, what would that be, 5 years, 6 years? They were in 2019. Man, do I think Texas Tech's going to the championship? Do I think Creighton's going to the championship? It's always fun to make these picks, but then you're like, damn, do I really think that? I do like Florida a lot. I kind of quickly just gloss past that one. Ah, screw it. Give me the Raiders. And then give me Duke. Pretty boring. I'm not picking some. The national title winners always boring. But how many points scored? Put me in those contests. We're having a high scoring game here. Give me 161. All right, so that is it. Thank you for watching this video and keeping up with my nonsense. And maybe this is the last tournament ever without the Gophers. And Nico Medved brings him to the promised land and returns him to glory. So this is your warning, the rest of the country. But I think Duke's cutting down the nets. Would be an interesting Final Four here with Duke, Gonzaga, Creighton, Texas Tech. But that's what we're rolling with. We're having fun here. So, as always, appreciate you guys for listening. Make sure to check out my Twitter at Tony Liebert. Check out all of my stuff over at Bring Me the News on SI Gophers, all my other Minnesota sports coverage. And check us out over on the Bring Me the Sports YouTube channel. But I appreciate you guys for listening. Adios.